If you remember, right here used to sit Mr. Shmuel Fagel for many, many years. He used to come for all the shiurim. If he understood, if he didn't understand that much English, his neshama always understood, and he always had a big smile. Sometimes here. It's just a wonderful person. And such a simcha. His daughter is engaged, and Dave shall help him. He should have a lot of nachas of her, and the next daughter should also become engaged.
Amen.
This week is a yortzeit of one of the Chassidish Yid that had a lot of Mesiris Nefesh. He came out of Russia, and he lived in Bnei Brak. His name was Rabbi Bastulin, Zamalei Bastulin. He was...
Astulin in Morocco, no?
No.
Astulin?
Astulin.
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 Yesterday was the Chidazal.
Yeah. So, Rabbi Zamalei Bayid, Bapal Mesiris Nefesh. So he had one of his Choshev Talmidim, today is a Choshev Rosh Yeshiva, is Reb Gershon Edelstein in Ponovich. Because Reb Gershon grew up in communist Russia, and his father, who was a Rav, was those days there were Rabbonim that were still like Reb Moshe Feinstein, who were great people, and they were under duress, and they were standing strong. And he had 2 children, and he wanted the kids, but there was no chadorim, there was no nothing. And nearby town was, I think it was Poltava. There were a lot of Lubavitch Chassidim, and there was also a Lubavitch Yeshiva, clandestine Lubavitch Yeshiva. He was, Rabbi Edelstein's father was a Goan Otzo. For a while, when they moved to Eretz Yisrael, he was learning with it. He was scared. They didn't know. He knew in Russia, you just keep an eye on your kids. You keep your kids right here, they'll be from. Till Rav Kahneman convinced him through the Chaznish, he should send his son to Ponovich. Otherwise, his son was going to sit right next to him. He was a Goan Otzum, and the boys, the Lubavitcher boys, wanted him to give a shir. So he said, you know what, I'll make a deal with you. I want 2 boys to come to my town. I'm going to give you a shir and hadrocha and gemara, and you're going to teach my children. So this Zamalei Bastulin, who has a son who was a shlich in California, was ended up being the Malamed of Reb Gershon Edelstein, another very choshev people. So he told the story of a friend that was a Tomim in the yeshiva, a Tomim and Tom Chatmimim. He came and he wanted to be accepted the yeshiva, and at that time the yeshiva was a very limited budget, and it was a big anius, the time between the 2 world wars, and they only wanted to take in a certain amount of bochrim, and he had a bechina, and he didn't do that well, and they decided, the Menahel, who was then the Frierdiker Rebbe, told him that he was not accepted the yeshiva. He came already all the way, he traveled to Lubavitch. His name was Rebbe Bravzin. So he decided he's going to stick around. So he's not accepted in the yeshiva, but he can come here shiurim, he can stick around in Lubavitch. But he didn't have any money. Mama and Pop wasn't sending him stuff from the ATM. So, they didn't have it in Lubavitch, yeah.
About 40 years later, it's too early.
So, they still don't have one in Lubavitch, Adayim Hazeh. So, he hung around. After the meals, he used to go quietly to the kitchen in the yeshiva, and whatever leftover foods he would take to eat. So once he goes in to eat a meal, and who walks in? The Rebbe Rashab. The Rebbe Rashab asks him, "What are you doing here?" So he says, "I went to your son, and I got a bechina, and I wasn't accepted in the yeshiva." But I really, really started to cry. So I really want to come to yeshiva. So he said, no problem. Go to the office tonight to my son. You're accepted in the yeshiva. So at night when he went to the Frierdiker Rebbe, the Frierdiker Rebbe told him, don't think that it was like you can go like this behind my back. What happened was, my father told me that he was sitting at home, and all of a sudden he felt a thing in him that he must go to check out what's going on in the yeshiva kitchen. He felt an urge in him. He felt an inner thing that he has to go into the yeshiva kitchen. So he went into the yeshiva kitchen, and everything looked good. Everything is kosher. And he looked up and he saw that there's one bacha sitting and eating. So he realized that there's something here. So he asked you who you are, and he found that you're not in yeshiva, and he realized it was a min hashamayim, that he should have led you into the yeshiva. In other words, don't think that it was like this, but it was Milamayla. The Rebbeinu Shalom made it that you should be in the yeshiva. So his friend told him like this. This is Leib, that when the boys had their chance to go, when they would be called up to the reserves, the Russian army, no one wanted to be in the Russian army. It was not a pleasant thing. Shmuel Fegel was Taka, served 9 years, I think. He was playing drum. Tuba. Yeah, tuba. And he used to tell us that they used to listen to this. They used to travel. They used to travel for a long time. They used to go, and it was in the snow. So he said the officers used to sit in the cars, and they used to have the thing running. Uncle Alexander pays for all that. So they were running the cars so they had heat all night. He says, but we slept under the cars. It was nice and comfortable. What we know today about the poisons and the carbon monoxide. Anyway, this guy knew.
He's as a soldier. He was sleeping on the bottom
under the car.
And where
the officers were sitting in the car. So anyway, it was not a fun thing for a Jewish boy to be in the Russian army. So whenever it was the time for the reserves, the Bochum used to go to ask for a brocha. There were 3 nuschos that the Rebbe Rashab had. One nusach was alaf eich ken eugle schlagen. They shouldn't see you. Anyone that got that the army shouldn't see you.
Oh, shouldn't see you.
Their eyes shouldn't go on you. Mm-hmm. Any bochum that got that brocha knew he's out. That's it. He's good. That bracha meant that it's gold in the bank. The second nusach was the Eibusha should protect you. Eibusha should protect you meant that it's going to be really hard, but they're going to get out of service. And the third nusach was the Eibusha should protect you wherever you are. That meant you could stand on your head. It's Exeda, and that's it. It's not going to change. They knew there were 3 nuschos, and there was nothing to do. And sometimes there's a story that he told that the Rebbe Rashab didn't want to answer. I guess he knew that if once it was after a long time of not answering, he called his son. He says, "There's a Eis Rotzen now." So as soon as his son heard that there's a Eis Rotzen, it didn't occur to him that he should ask something for himself. He ran out and he got all the Talmidim, and they all came to his father, and he gave them all the bracha that the Russians shouldn't see them. And whoever got the bracha at that time, that was it. They were gold. Then, when they all left, the Frierdiker Rebbe said, "Can I get a bracha?" The Rebbe Rashab said, "The Eis Rotzen is finished." He said, "But I'll tell you, for the Mesidus Nefesh that you had, that you're going to be always Lamayla Mahazman, and whatever you're going to try to carry through, you're going to be Matzliach." Anyway, so this, back to the B'zalmalei Bastul, and his friend told him like this. When he came to the Rebbe Rashab told him, the Eibusha will protect you wherever you are. That was it. He knew that there was no. He went to the reserves, and he was drafted as a soldier, and it was very difficult to keep kashrus and Shabbos, and everything was a struggle. Open anti-Semites. I mean, the Russians hated the Yidden. They get it with the mother's milk. Shabbos were learning Yonik Shteimi, and they were on the front line fighting against the Germans, and the First World War. And here, they had a break. So what's a good game for a good Russian soldier? Beat up the Jew. Beat up the Jew.
They didn't have Schwarzes though.
Beat up the Jew.
Yeah.
So Schwarzes have rights, but
no, I'm saying they didn't have Schwarzes.
Sure, yeah.
If they had Schwarzes, they fought whatever is not their kind.
So Memela, it's genommen to the Bene, and they had a game. They were pushing him, and he can't fight against the whole platoon. So again, they were pushing him, and one guy gave him a good zetz, and he went flying, and everyone was laughing. And he went flying really far. And why should he get up? He's going to get up. That's the next. They're going to throw him. They throw it again. So he's on the ground again. He was far away. And everyone's laughing, and all of a sudden, boom, the fighting started again. He has nothing to get up for. Where is he going to get up? He's sitting. He's in the grass. All of a sudden, it was quiet. It was like a deafening quiet. And then he hears there were a few trucks that pull up. Russian trucks, he could hear. He looks up. They're coming to look for survivors. The Germans had started using chemical weapons. And they tried it out. All these guys that were playing with him, this entire platoon, were all killed out. He was the only one.
He was saved in the side.
He was saved. He was in the side. He was saved. He was in a ditch or something. The chemicals didn't reach him. They were all dead. They were all lined out dead. And he was alive. So he was the only one. They were happy. They picked up a soldier and they brought him back, and he got medals of honor. They got, one soldier survived the battle. And then he saw what the Frierdiker Rebbe told him. That Frierdiker told him, wherever you're going to be, the Eibishter is going to be with you. So, as we go into this Amordike Sicha about how the Eibishter is with the Yid wherever Yid goes, it's a Sicha. It's one of the final Sichas that we have from the Rebbe Tafshin Beis, and it has to do with the davening. It's a beautiful. It was said, and still under the cloud, that Rebbe was behisrakshus atzuma. That Rebbe was in very great pain. There was a woman that Rahman al-Atzan was killed al Kiddush Hashem. I spoke about it last week before. It was that the Rebbe came out to the Levaya. The Rebbe waited till everyone passed. See pictures of the Rebbe's face. The Rebbe was like, I remember the Sicha. The Rebbe was crying. The Rebbe's face was so in pain. So that Shabbos that Rebbe spoke, something that connected, the children were there, but someone here Shabbos mentioned that there was like, who knows, but there was like a double pain. This one was a Balas Tshuva. She came from Texas, she became a Balas Tshuva, went to Mochachana, and then she get married. And then Rahman al-Atzlan, the Schwarze goes in from the window and tried to desecrate her, and she fought back, and she got killed. But it was like, there was unbelievable pain. The Rebbe was talking about the children, her children. The Rebbe said a whole story about Abaye. That Abaye's father and mother passed away when he was young. His father passed away before he was born, and his mother was passed away right after she gave birth. And he had a stepmother that raised him. Whenever the Gemara says Amar li Aim, it wasn't a real biological mother. All kinds of stories. He had a yenta, a woman that took care of him. Overprotective yenta woman. All kinds of stories that Abaye had about his mother, but it was not really his mother. His mother named him after the father, Nachmoni. But he was named, so how did he end up with the name Abaye? So the Seder Doida said, Asher Bercho Yeruchim Yosem. The people had Rachmanis on him. Nebacha Yosem. So they say the Eibishter should have Rachmanis on you. Asher Bercho Yeruchim Yosem. The Eibishter should be with you. The Eibishter should have Rachmanis on you. And the Eibishter, so the Rebbe said, the whole thing, and we're going to learn it inside, that every morning we say Karbonis. And we say, Abaye of a Masada Sada Baruch Mishmadara, Alibadab the Shol. We say it. Until I learned to say, you know that this is not really the halacha. It's a machloikis, Abba Shol and the other one. And this is not the halacha. Not only is it not the halacha, on Yom Kippur we say Ata Tikanta, we say it the real way, the way it's la halacha. So, like, hello, is if you want to pass him like Abba Shol against that Amam the Smag, it's your prerogative. But how could the halacha be like Chachamim? It's a machlokes Chachamim Abba Shol. So on Yom Kippur we say the halacha is like Chachamim, and the other days of the year the halacha is like Abba Shol. Which one is it? So as we'll see at the end of the Shir, the Rebbe had a hope shot, but it was because the Rebbe started off with this thing about Asher B'chor Yeruchim Yosem, the Eibishter has Rachmanos on every Yid. B'frat a Yid that never suffering in Golus. The Yid that's suffering in Golus is Abba Shol. The Tata, the Tata is Shol. He's not here. He's not here. He's B'She'ela. He's alone. He's somewhere else. And the Yid is Abaye. Asher B'cho Yeruchim Yosem. And V'meila, therefore, the Yidden say Dafke this Nusach. But there's a very Pnimius Dik Pshat. Why? A very, very Pnimius Dik Pshat. Before we learn it inside, I just want to give a redux of it because it's very deep. Basically, it's a machlokes of Abba Shol and Chachamim. When you go through the avodas of the Beis HaMikdash in the morning, the Gemara says that it says Baboiker beitives neidas yaktirena. Baboiker. What does Baboiker mean? Very, very early. How early? No. Twice Baboiker means that when you do hatovas neidas, you should split the mitzvah of adlokas and atovas anedis into half. Chomish nedis and shtei nedis. You do the 5 candles and the 2 candles. In the morning, there was a mitzvah atovas anedis, and in the afternoon, there was a mitzvah adlokas anedis. Agav orche, and it's not so agav orche, it will be negay in a few moments. There's a major machloikis between the Rambam and Rashi. According to the Rambam, what does the mitzvah of atovas anedis means? That what the atovas anedis means that the candles that were already burnt out, they should clean up, put in new oils and wicks, and the other ones they should just fix up. Atova means to be meitiv, to make it good. Vayetiv lahem, that they should make the candles good. Rashi holds no, just clean it up and leave it there and not bother them. And the Rashba has like a middle sheet.
Wasn't it that lights up 24/7?
No, according to Rashi not. According to the Rambam, yes. According to the Rambam, they lit it at night, and in the morning they would come. But according to Rashi, well, how could you say that? By night is a mitzvah adlok, and in the morning is hatova. According to the Rambam, hatova and adlok really is the same thing. It's just that at night, the lomdus, Reb Chaim has a whole lomdus there, Reb Chaim on the Rambam, that at night there was a mitzvah on the gavra to light. By day, it was the mitzvah was that the candles should stay lit. The candles should stay lit. Ba'erev, the mitzvah was to light the candles. And in the morning, Atovas Nedis was that the candles should stay lit.
So we're just replacing...
To replace it and to do maintenance. But according to Rashi, no. In the morning was to be made, to clean it out. And Bein Arbaim was to light the candles.
So how do you light the candles if it doesn't go off? So we have the mitzvah of actually lighting the candle in the afternoon?
Eventually it was like, they put enough that can made also, but it would burn out. Right before they lit, and if it was not burnt out, they would just clean it up. Doesn't matter. They would clean it up and then light it again. Agav urcha, in a lot of yeshivas, there's a lot of lomdas and the korbanos. There's the yeshivas that learn Tamura and Zavochim and Menoches, but Mishumah, there's some sugyas in the Beis HaMikdash that are not so explored. I don't know, but one of them is to say that avodas in the Beis HaMikdash. We should once do it. They found in the Rishimas of the Rebbe has a whole pamphlet that he wrote himself, a whole thing about the Seder of the menorah. There's many to show him how they lit the menorah and the candles were facing with the center or was sending this way, that way. Marovi, what's name Marovi? The Rebbe wrote a whole kuntus to himself. So it's interesting that Rishimas menorah. So there is interesting that the Rebbe has a beautiful sikha about this now, and this is one of the last Mugdik sikhas we have from the Rebbe. Every morning we say this Abaya of Masada.
What you just said, the menorah is right in the beginning of, I think, right in the beginning of the Sefer, where it talks about the machlokas direction of where.
Right, Shintas a menorah. So the machlokas is like this. The Gemara says Baboiker means you have to split that Tovas Anedis. The Rambam says Kadesh Gishu. The Eibishter wants it should be Yilahargesh Esazora. It shouldn't do that all 7 candles are fixed up like this. They did 5 candles, they did a different avodah, and then they did the avodah of the 2 candles. In the morning and at night. In the morning and at night. So the machloikes of Chachamim and Abish. So that's the din. Because it says in the pasuk, Baboiker beitivas anedis yaktirana. That there's 2 parts of Atovas anedis, and also Bein Arbaim was 2 parts. They did Chovish anedis, and then 2. There was some avodah that was sandwiched in between. Shaila is which avoid, and that's the machloik is between Abba Shol and Chachamim. Abba Shol, as you'll see in a minute, we read it every morning. Abba Shol holds that the avoid that we do in between, that sandwiched in between, is the avoid of making the korban tomid, the korban tomid. That's what, and we'll read it in the siddur. We read it every day, really, but we'll read it again, and you'll pay attention. You'll see that's what Abba Shol holds. Chacham say no. That when the sandwich, what you do in between the candle, the 2 avodas of the candle, the 5 and the 2 candles, is ketoris. What's the halacha? The Rambam and the Smag both paskin like Chachamim. And on Yom Kippur we say it that way. But the Seder of Atat Tekanta, that's what we say. That you do the 5 candles, the ketoris, and the 2 candles. Also by night, you do the 5 candles, the ketoris, and the 2 candles. But during the year we say the different. We say like Abai says from Abba Shol. So the Beis Yosef, why? The halach is one way. Why? The Beis Yosef says that the Welt, they found a Braisa. Ha'olam motzu Braisa from Abai, and he holds like Abba Shol. So they say it that way. They found the Bryce. It's a Gemara Meforeshes in Yuma, Daf Lamed Gimel. They found. And what's the difference they found? But the Rambam Paskin is not that way. You can edit it, just like in Yom Kippur. Where they say, general, they say it like Abba Shaul, but they fixed this one thing, that's Chachamim. That when we sandwich the avoid of the menorah between the 5 and the 2 candles, that the thing in the inside, the cream, and the inside the sandwich, is not the Korban Tamid, but rather the Ktoidus.
We say the same people.
On Yom Kippur we say it like Chachamim, and every day we say like Abba Shaul. No, we say in the morning, but then in the Musa, we say Ata Tikanter Lomcha, and we say a whole Seder Avoida, and over there we say like Chachamim. We say Atova Chamashneres, Nichnas Lakter Aktoides, and then Steineres. And also in the afternoon we say, this Yom Kippur you'll pay attention. Fragt sich the Shaila, what do you mean the Oila Motzu? What do you mean they found? It's a Gemara Meforeshes. It's a funny lotion. Oila Motzu. They found, and so Abaya holds like Abba Shaul, great, but that's not the way we paskin. And then Yom Kippur we paskin like a chomim. No, hold you not. It's the nekuda of the Rebbe's word. It's just beautiful. That it's an inyan avodas Hashem really. The ha'olam b'shas golus when the Yidden is Abaya shebecho yeruchim yosem. The Yidden need the Eibush is Rachmanas. The Eibush there is in a way of Abba Shaul. So over there's a different Avoseda avoided than Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur is like Ein Olam Haba. What's the Inyan is like this? This week's Parsha, it's a strange thing. All the Kalim of the Beis HaMikdash is in Parshas Truma. The Begodim and making the Koyanim holy is in Parshas Tetzaveh. And Parshas Tetzaveh, there's just like a little mix-up. It starts with the mitzvah of Adlokas and Edis, and it finishes with the mitzvah of building Mizbeach Miktek Toiris. And all the Meforshim it's like, doesn't belong here. It doesn't belong here. It belongs in Parshas Truma. Parshas Truma, it talks about building all the parts of the Beis HaMikdash. And that's where you should put in about Hadlokas and Edis and about building the Mizbeach Miktek Toiris. And also in this week's Parsha, today, also something a little bit that doesn't belong, about Yud Alos Amamonik Toiris. Which again is a little interesting because in the morning when we say the Korbanos, we say about the Dishon Mizbeach, about the Korban Tamid, and then we say a lot about the Ktoiris. We read Toner Rabbon and Pitum Ktoiris, Keitzer B'Shim and Abnosan, a lot about the Ktoiris. Why? Why do we so marichas about the Ktoiris Dafka? And why is it that the Seder, the Parshas, are so mixed up? You should have, all this should be in Parshas Truma, and Parshas Tetzaveh, which is all about the begodim of the Kohen Gadol, and anointing the Kohen Gadol, and being mekadosh the Kohen Gadol, should be a separate Parsha. Elamai Zok the Rebbe, because there is 2 things that are very choshev, which is the ultimate of the ultimate, which is there is korbanos and there's ktoiris. A korban means to become close to Hashem. Ktoiris means to make a knot, and make a double knot with Hashem. Korban means kiruv. That's why in the Mizbeach HaPnimi we find the inside Mizbeach, it was Amma al Amma. The Mikliyok is the Yechidiyos. It's Maramas and the Yechidish of Neshama. And that's why in the Mizbeach and the inside Mizbeach was only brought Ketores. Ketores was 11 spices. Kedush everything is 11. 10. In Kedush everything is 10. But Ketores is that part of the Neshama which is so powerful, which can even turn around something negative, Tuma into Kedusha, the Moir. And it's Achadosar, it's the union of the one which is higher than the 10. So the Ketores has an unbelievable koyach. The koyach, a korban means to come close to the Eibishter. Ketores means to become one with the Eibishter. That's why the din was, B'shasa Ketores HaKetores, that was called Yechidus. In Chabad there's a concept, when you go to the Rebbe, Yechidus. Where does that come from? The idea of Yechidus comes from because the din was that B'shas, the Kohen, was doing the Avodah Ketores. The din was that no one was allowed to be in the Heichel. Be'eshim aktirim aktoris be'heichel b'chol yom perishim mikol ha'omen ha'heichel ben ha'ulul mizbech l'shem adam shenema says v'chol adam lo yiyeh b'oil moed. Not allowed to be. It's Yechidus. It was Yechidus b'tu Eibishter. That's the meaning of Yechidus. Yechid of the neshama. So Ketores means a person that generally comes close to God. That's Korbanos. Korbanos. Kirbun. Korban Lashon Kiruv. Come close. Ketores means to become one. Become one with Hashem. That's Ketores. What is the Natus? The Natus is the thing that shines out to the world. A Jew is called a candle, because Ner Hashem Nishmas Adam, and the 7 types of candles, 7 types of Jew. There's different types of Jews. Chesed Jew, Gevura, Tiferes, Netzach, Chod, Yesod, Malchus. And how does Yid shine? Through Ner Mitzvah, V'Torah Or. And not only that, it says that V'yikhu Eilecha Shem and Zayazach. Eilecha, the Eibusha says, I don't need a light. I want the Jews to light it, to shine out a light to the world. I want the Jews to be an example to the world. I want that the menorah should be a testimony to the world that my Shechina rests among the Jews. Therefore, you should build the windows in the Beis HaMikdash, Shkufim Atumim. They should go out. I want the menorah to be visible to the world that there's my Shechina is close with the Jewish people. So, Memela, the idea of the menorah is that the Jew has to shine out to the world. So, Memela, the shaila is, what can a Jew shine out to the world? Abba Shaul says, you know what you sandwich in middle, baboika, what's sandwiched in between the avoid of the menorah, which represents the Jew shining out a candle to the world? A Jew could show the world what it is to become close to Hashem. But to make this knot, this double knot, b'chat katiris katarna, there is talking love and there's a kiss. Like we learned in the Maimah this. So the talk, that's nice. But this one thing with the Eivishter, that a Yid can't show out to the world. Abba Shaul says a Yid could, in the middle of the Avodah of Hadlokas and Nedus, between the 5 and the 2 candles, we do the Avodah of Korbanos, which the most important korban is Tamid Shel Shachar, Tamid Shel Ben Arba'in. That's what we could shine out to the world. But the Chacham say no. Even the union of Ketoides, which V'chad Katiris Katarna, the avoid of Ketoides, where Yid is mamish chad with the Eibishter, that also a Yid could shine out to the world. This Yechidus that the Yid has with the Eibishter, that's also possible for a Jew to shine out to the world. A Yid could shine out to the world. This beauty of this of Ketoides, a Yid could shine out to the world. We should have here that there was a Lubavitch, there was a Choshevi that passed away this week, a Mendel Baumgarten. He has a son who's a Chazan. I actually tried it. Rabbi Zalman Baumgarten. We thought he's going to come to Fabreng, and though his father was sick, he passed. We'll get him in Mitzvah Shem. So he apologized that his father Taka passed away. Nebach. So says the thing is like this: his father's a Chassidish Yid, 3 generations American. The family came in 1880. You wouldn't know.
1880?
1880. Family came.
Same time.
And the Fruma Yid.
Before the Brooklyn Bridge.
Right. Fruma Yid. So
he's the Lubavitch. He's also one of the first Lubavitchers.
he married a sister of Rabbi Leibel Baumgar. So Leibel Gronum, sorry.
Yeah.
So one of them beautiful stories, a few beautiful stories. The Frierdiker Rebbe
She
sent
passed away a
him.
year and a half ago.
The Frierdiker Rebbe sent him and a friend, Zalman Posner, very Choshev Yid. He was a Rav in Nashville, Tennessee. Right? Yeah. Oh, was a very special guy. So he wrote a book, Think Jewish.
Isn't Posner also by Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
Posner, he opened Yeshiva?
There is could be, he has a brother, Zalman Posner's younger brother. So the Frierdiker Rebbe sent them after the war that it should be his shluchim to go all the DP camps, to be Mechazek Yidin. And he wrote letters to Chassidim that they should be, that these are my Talmidim, my dear Talmidim, that you should be Mekabel upon him. I just want to tell you my pshat, my take. Frierdiker Rebbe wanted to show the old Chabad Chassidim that Yiddishkeit is not over. These are American boys, born and bred in the United States. The Zayda came here in 1880, and he's a Frumboche Betachlis, and a Gimlen Gemorah, Rashi Toisves, no jokes. And don't worry, Yiddishkeit is going on. Yiddishkeit is going on. Don't think it's Rachman al-Islan over. So he said that one of the last things that the Frierdiker Rebbe told him, that they should take a huge amount of flour, kosher Pesach. They ended up being on the Frierdiker Rebbe's behest for half a year in Europe. They went from country to country. They had all the DKP camps in Germany and in Austria, and they went to Switzerland, they went to Belgium and to Holland. They went to where the Lubavitcher Chassidim were, and also the Rebbe Friedeker wanted any from Yid, they should come give a grus, they should give a regards from the Friedeker Rebbe. The Rebbe wanted that he should be their face to say regards to all the Yiddelach the Sheidas Apleita. So he said they should bring there's matzahs in Europe. The joint was bringing matzahs. They came to a DP camp, and there was Hungarian Yiddelach, and the joint was sending stuff for Pesach, and the Tzchanga action to whoever was in charge over there for the Jewish stuff, that they don't have to. The Manashevitz matzah is also good, but these were primarily, Satmar, or I don't know which Chassidim, but they were from Hungarian Yidden. They were not interested in Manashevitz matzah. They wanted different type of matzah. But the Nebuch, they didn't have a nickel in their pocket. They were in a camp, and was on Zayton. So Rabbi Baumgarten comes and he said, I have. They realized it must have been that's what the Frierdiker Rebbe had in mind. So we have here a shipment of flour from New York, flour kosher lePesach. He said years later he bumped into people Eltere Yiddelach in the Catskills, and they remembered that the Lubavitcher Rebbe sent them flour for Pesach. Another story, he said that he's davened the shul Rei Mahuvim. Frierdiker Rebbe wanted all the students that learned in Lubavitch, they should be Bal Kodesh, because there was New York shuls needed Bal Kodesh. If you were going to offer the shul to the lame free charge, the shul would chap you up. In the meantime, the Frierdiker wanted the students to go to a shul, look out for the young kids, bring them, convince them to come to yeshivas, talk to the parents, sign them up for yeshivas, the boys and the girls, say Advar Torah Bashal Shudas, become friendly to the rabbi. The rabbis Lavdafka were Agres of Yerushalayim also, but the Frierdiker wanted this way the boys. So he was davening in Rei Mahuvim, and he was there Bal Koida. He said there was a Yid that he's not, but whatever. He was a prominent member in the shul, and he used to like to make latzonos of the Frierdiker Rebbe. And Nebuch, he had a brother who had a terrible disease, and he was trying to help him. They had no insurance, and he was helping his brother pay medical bills. He became impossible broke. He was so ashamed, he didn't know what to do. He went to the Morgenthau Journal and he put in an ad in Yiddish. They're saying, I darf hilf. And he put his address. Ayid darf hilf. And he
Jewish
put his
guys need help. He didn't say name, nothing. Just
this is a story from Mendel Baumgarten.
Yeah.
He said that he heard the story from the Bala Maisa. Ayid darf hilf. So he put in the Morgenthau, and the Frierdiker Rebbe used to get the Kedarke Bakodesh used to get newspapers. What was his cheshbon? Whatever. That was. And he called in the secretary. He said, "You see, there's an ad. Ayid Afilf. I want you to send. I want you to. We know the Frierdiker was always strapped, and Nebuch, he was like he died of Balchoy. He passed away by his istalkus. The Rebbe had a whole thing that he got to was a gvir that paid up all the debt and paid up the mortgage in 770. But Frierdiker Rebbe didn't have like big budgets. But the Frierdiker Rebbe said they should send him. There's Ayid Afilf. They should send him a check. So the seed guy gets a check in the mail. No one responded. He got a check from the Lubavitcher Rebbe.
Yeah.
So next Shabbos he went to Rei Mahuvim and he clapped the bima and he told the whole oilam the Maisa. And he said, I was asking Mechila and Barabin to the Frierdiker Rebbe. So we see it's an unbelievable thing that there is the neshama, the Frierdiker Rebbe gefilt. The Yidela needs a kemach for Pesach in a DP camp in Germany, and that there's a Yid on Union Street that makes latzonos of him, but is now in need. So the shaila is, how much could a neshama really feel what's going on and binas gala and megala the Eibish's kedusha in the world? And this is the machlokas of Chacham Abba Shaul. Chacham said the Yidden who are the menorah. So the menorah could be megala the avodah of korbonos, but not the avodah of ketoides. And Chacham say even the avodah of ketoides, the Yidden could be megala, which is the kesher yechida, lechida leyachtoch, the Yud Aleph Saman Ketoides, which is the deepest thing in the avodah Hashem. The deepest avodah in the Beis Hamikdash is the ketoides. This also a Yid could be megala and could be nikir b'chol derochecho, and everything that he does, it could be nikir, this unbelievable kedusha. When it comes every day in the year when the Yidden are in Golus, that's what the Beis Yosef said. Oilam Lashon Helam Chassidus. That Motzu they found in the time of Golus, when there's a Helam, they found that Abaya, which Abaya is the Indian of when a Yid is Nabach in Golus, Yeruchim Yosem, when Abba Shoal, when the Eibishter is Shoal, when the Eibishter is not Begilui, Mela they found that there's a Braisa that fits the Zman Golus. Because in the Zman Golus, it's hard to expect for every Yid to be so sensitive and so pure, and that to shine out to the world the Kedusha of his Yechida. It's hard to expect that from every Yid. But a Yid could be carved to the Eibishter, close to the Eibishter, and to display to the world how close he's to the Eibishter. But to expect every Yid to Megala K'toides, no. But when it comes to Yom Kippur Achaz Bashana, when Yidden are like Malachi Ashoras, Jews are angels, and then the Yid could be Megala even the Inyan of K'toides. So therefore, when we say the Musaf, in the avoid of Yom Kippur, we're saying, we say it like Chachamim, that what was sandwiched in the avoid of the Adlokas and Neiris, the K'toides. That's why Parshas Tetzava starts off with Adlokas and Neiris, finishes with K'toides, because these things are very special. These things are the holiest of the holy in the Beis HaMikdash, and also Parshas Kisisa starts off with Yudal Samon K'toides, because after when the pasuk finishes off, the pasuk finishes the starts off looking at that side. Ata Tetzavas Bnei Yisrael V'Yikolach Hashem Zayzoch Kosas Lamar Lahalas Ner Tomid Boil Moyed. It starts the whole parsha with Neiris. The Parshas Tetzaveh starts with Neiris, and what does it finish? The Kidashti Yisrael Moed v'Samazbech v'Saram v'Zvon v'Hakadosh l'Chanli v'Shachanti b'Toich Bnei Yisrael v'Yisrael Elohim v'Yodek HaNisham Elokeim Asher Tzeiss Yisrael Meretz Mitzrayim l'Shochne b'Soicha v'Nisham Elokeim, which is after the whole thing of the Big Day Kahuna and the Big Day Kohen Gadol, and how he made Kedusha to Aaron and his Bonov. It says v'Shachanti b'Toich Bnei Yisrael, and right after that, the Eibusha says one more thing. It's not like an afterthought. Where is the biggest Gila Kedusha? After we said Parshas Truma, which is all the Kalim of the Beis HaMikdash. After we said Tetzava, which Tzav is Moshe Tzav Chibur. When we get to the pinnacle, when we get to the end, after the Kohanim and Kohen Gadol was anointed, and they were made holy, and it says V'Shachante b'Toich L'Bnei Yisrael V'Yodek Ani Hashem Elokeim Asher Tzeiss Yisrael Mitzrayim L'Shochne b'Toicham. Where is the biggest gila of that? Through K'toides. That's why, right, the last thing in Parshas Tetzava is about K'toides, and the first thing in Parshas Kisisa is Yudal Samon K'toides. We say, V'sisa Mizbeach, Mikta K'toides, Atzashitim Tasa Oisoi, Ama Orke, Ama Roch Beruvua, we say Ama is the union of Yechida. Vamasayim Komos, Mena Karnois, V'tzbisas of Zohar, V'zgage, V'skarois, V'sova, V'skarnois, V'zis of Sovim, Shtei Taboz of Tasla, Metachitz Lazera, Shtei Talois of Tasa, Shtei Tzida, V'hoy, Levadam, Lebotan, Levadad, Losses, Oisa, Behema, V'sisas, Abadam, Atzashitim, V'tzibes, Zav, and Asatos, Lefnei, Parechel, Asher ala Aruna, Edis, Lefnei, Kaparis, Asher ala Edus, Shivol, Chashaman. The last thing is the ultimate, is the Mizbach HaKtoides. V'yikter of Aaron, Ktoides Samim, Baboiker, which is Beitivis Anedos Yaktirena. The Baboiker, B'shas HaTovas Anedos. The Chazal say within HaTovas Anedos there is sandwiched in the Aktoras Anedos is the Ktoides. Baboiker, Beitivis Anedos Yaktirena. Uval is not in the Anedos Barabaim. In the afternoon there was again, the morning there was HaTovas Anedos. The afternoon was HaLokas Anedos. Yaktirena Ktoides Lefnei Hashem Lekechem. There's no other thing on the no oil or mincha or nesach. All the korbanos on the mizbeach achitz, mizbeach apnimi, like Chazal say, it's like guf and neshama. The neshama, the guf eats food. Chazal say medrash anelam, and the neshama smells. The smokes and smells. That's why you have so the mele and apichsidus, the mizbeach apnimi is the deeper part of the heart. Mizbeach HaChitzon is the Chitzonius Alev. And Api Oimekach Sidus, that's the union of the Mizbeach HaChitzon is the Neshama, and Mizbeach HaPnim is the Yechida of the Neshama. So he's saying on the Mizbeach HaChitzon there could be regular korbanos, Oila Mincha V'Neisach, but in the Mizbeach HaPnimi and the Yechida with the Etzam Neshama is only the K'toides. V'chipar of Aaron al Karnois v'achaz b'shama v'dan chavetz ha'kapurim achaz b'shani yechaper of the deresechem kodesh kadoshim ol Hashem. The Rebbe says the Merames and then every day of the year there's a connection to Yom Kippur. That's why in the we have the biggest arichas of every avodah in the Beis Hamikdash is about Ketores. Why? Because Ketores is the deepest avodah, and every day we mention about the extra Sheikh and Yafa Yafa and Erev Yom Kippur, and you put it back to be Daka min Adaka. What's negate to say that part? We should say once a Yom Kippur, because we want to be meramas that be'emes the Ketores of every day has a Sheikh as the Ketores of Yom Kippur. Meila come schnell in the Gemara. The Gemara says, Amar Abaya, Loi Kasha, Kam Batov Shteineres, Kam Batov es Chomesh Neiris. That there's two brises. One says the Ketores came before the Neiris, one says after. He says Nishkin Shaila. And one is where there was a break between the Chomesh Neiris and the Shtei Neiris, and that's where the Ketores was sandwiched in the middle. Yeah, there was a machloikis tak Abashol and Rabbanon. The Tanya lo yetiv v'saneret v'achkech yakter al yakter v'achkech yetiv. Abashol oimer meitev v'achkech makter. The Chachamim said that the Ketores was sandwiched in the Aktorah, and Abashol says no. The Neiris and the Aktorah were two separate things. My time at Abashol the ksiv baboike v'tivres and Neiris v'hoder yakterenu. First say Tivus and Neiris and then Yaktirena. But Rabbanon say no. How Michael Amar Machmona. Beidna Hatova te mikta Torah sagt the Gemara. That the Torah is saying Baboike, the Gemara later says, Baboike means two things of Beitivens and Neiris, and sandwiched in the middle should be the Torahs. Diloi te mahochi ben arbaim the ksiv alas the arnas Neiris ben arbaim Yaktireno. Hachinami the bereisha madel kbeneides v'hoder makte Ketores ben arbaim v'chitei hachinami. If you're going to say that's a pshat, it's impossible. V'atanya we learned it says in the beginning of Parshas Tezava that me'erev ad boiker ein loch avodah sheksherim me'erev ad boiker asul b'vav. The last avodah they did in the Beis Hamikdash was to light the candles, and that was thing that was me'erev ad boiker. No other avodah was allowed to be done in the Beis Hamikdash. So what are you going to say in the afternoon? It says first the adloka and then Ketores. Obviously, we mean it's sandwiched in the middle of the adloka. Be'idan adloka timek Ketores. Hachaname be'inyan atova mikter Ketores. Just like in the afternoon, you must say, because we know from the beginning of Parashat Tetzaveh that the candles are sandwiched in the middle of the candles is sandwiched the Ketores. So also in the morning when the Deratavas and it was sandwiched in the middle of the avodah of lighting the candles. Abishol says no. Shani Austin the Ksiv Oisei only in the afternoon. Taka the Ketores was sandwiched in the morning. It was the Korban Tamid was sandwiched in the middle. Now this is what we say in the morning. Abai have a Masada said a Marachim Mishma the Gemara Alibad Abishol. He said, what's the avodah? He ignores the inyan of Dishim Mizbeach and Trumas Hadesh. And Meforshim say several reasons. One is because maybe that's a prelude to the whole avodah. So he doesn't mention it, but we mention it in Torah Shabbat Tzav. Then in the morning they would go and they would take off the extra ashes that there is on the Mizbeach, and they would take Trumas Hadesh and they would pick up one amount that was called the Truma. After that, what did they do? There was two maroches on the Mizbeach. One, the big fire, and the karbonis were on it. And to the extent that in the time of the Shalosh Regolim, they wouldn't take off the ashes. It was called the Big Apple. You think New York is the Big Apple? That's not the Big Apple. The original Big Apple was on the Mizbeach in the time of the Beis Hamikdash. They were so impressive how much ashes. You can imagine how many bulls and goats and sheep went onto that Mizbeach. Thousands and tens of thousands. And the ashes were huge. So they would build, they'd make a shape like an apple, and they called it the Big Apple. It was called Tapuach HaGudel. I kid you not. The original Big Apple was on the Mizbeach in the Beis Hamikdash. So the first avodah was Maroch HaGedolah, and then was Maroch HaShnir Shel Ketores, the little apple, which was the fire that they made in order to use the coals for Ketores. Then after that, Maroch HaShnir Shel Ketores Kademas L'Sidu Shnei Grizer Eitzim. Then they would throw in two planks of wood as the mitzvah of the fire. Then Sidu Shnei Grizer Eitzim Koydon L'Dishim Mizbeach HaPnimi. Then they would go in to be medashan to clean up the Mizbeach HaPnimi. Dishim Mizbeach HaPnimi Koydon L'Atovas Chomesh Neiris. That was before the mitzvah of the Hatov of 5 candles. Then they did the carbon tomid. They shechted and they sprinkled the dama tomid. And after that, dama tomid kedemes latovish day neidos. Then they did the 2 candles. So you see, because this is the opinion of Abba Shaul. Chachamim would say not that way. Chachamim would say that between Chomish Neidus and the Shtei Neidus would have been the Ktoidus. But he holds no, after Tovish Shtei Neidus, then was the Ktoidus, Kedemus L'Ktoidus. After that, they went back to taking care of all of the rest of the Korban Tomid. Then they did the Kedemus Levorim, they burnt all the meat, Levorim LaMincha, then they brought the flour onto the Mizbeach, Mincha LaChavitin. The Kohen Gadol every day had to burn his offering of bread on the altar. Chavitil and Nesachin, then they brought the wine on the Mizbeach. Nesachin and Musaf, and then they brought the Korban Musaf. Musaf and Levazichin. After the Musaf, there was the little spoons of that they had on the Shulchan that they would weekly burn on the Mizbeach. And also part of that, they would change the breads and they'd give out the kohenim. The kohenim would eat the shirayim. That's the original shirayim that there is, machap shirayim. The kohenim used to chap from the bread that was on the shulchan. And then after that, there was Tomid Shel Ben Arbaim as the last korban. After Tomid Shel Ben Arbaim was Ktoidus and the Neidus. Shenemar, because the Neidus has to be the last thing. Shenemar, but as Karbonos, that was the last thing. Shenemar, all the Karbonos that were done have to be sandwiched between Tomid Shel Shachar and Tomid Shel Ben Arbaim.
Rabbi, I learned, my father, Alav Shalom, taught me when I was young, when he said, Ektoret, הצורי והציפורן, והכוונה, ידעו in your finger, הצורי והציפורן, והכוונה, והכוונה, משקל של מנה, מור, פציעה, בשבוע, לקנה, לחכות, משקל 16 קורש, 12 קילו פייל, 3 קילומון, we used to do it in the finger.
Mamish, that's the Rebbe's minhag. David shall helfen. The record of Mamish, we should be making this avoid this Hashem in the Beis HaMikdash.
Amen.